There are beings that came to occupy this planet. They kind of manipulated our DNA with beings that came and created us to be and serve in a certain way. And that's part of that manipulation and keeping us small. They closed us off to our clairsenses. We have all of these tools inside of our bodies. And they dumbed us down so that we weren't connected to all of that, so that we could indeed be here and be in this position of, being manipulated and controlled. And what's happening right now is that
Pamela Downes, welcome to the show. You're the first Downes that I've had on the show, and I didn't know that I had a channeling cousin. So thank you.
yeah. You have a channeling cousin. We found each other finally.
Yeah,
Thanks for
I've
having me.
been needing a Downes that's connected because I feel like I've been the black sheep in the family for a long, long time, and it's nice to have you to
Yeah.
discuss these topics with.
We're the same. We're the disruptors. We're the disrupting Downses.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. When you reached out to me, I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, because it's very uncommon to find a Downes. So the same last name. So I was super excited to meet you, and I'm so happy to be here today.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, to your point, I think people need more community. People need more
Yeah,
connection, and people need more of they need to find their people, right?
yeah,
They don't necessarily
absolutely.
need to have the same last name, but they definitely need to find their people.
Yeah, they don't have to have the same last name, but they are seeking community traits. Like that's the one thing that I hear over and over and over and over again. I feel so alone. I don't have anyone that I can speak to about this. I feel isolated. And the first thing I write back is just please, like, just let it go. Hold no barriers. Allow yourself to try something new and come to our community because we're all having these conversations and no one's going to label you freak and no one's going to say anything about your belief systems. Everyone's going to open their hearts and say, tell me more. Oh, I had that experience, you know, and I just feel it's so important. So people like you and me and others like us who are having these conversations are serving all the seekers or scratchers, the newly awakened with these new eyes looking at life, who want to tell it to everyone they know, who want to scream it from the rooftops, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
100%. What do you find yourself doing more so today, right? I know you have a background in marketing and branding, but what's your purpose like driving you towards today?
Yeah, now it's like spirit always has me like it's always unfolding ahead of me what it is that's the next thing that I'm going to do. And what I'm doing right now, I'm so passionate about it, is I just led this Soul Path coaching program. I just launched it. And I'm working with people who are not feeling aligned with the work that they're doing, with the way that they're showing up in the world, feeling that there's something greater, feeling and knowing that there's something beyond this 9 to 5 or whatever it is that they've been brought into and we're doing. They want something more. So I'm helping them realize it, see it, have clarity about it. And that's like the coolest thing ever. So it's happening in different ways. So I'll do one-on-ones, but then I have this group environment. It's a master class and we're working with the council. And like everyone is opening up and discovering like new things about themselves. I love that on every level. That's what I love.
I love that too. I think it's great.
Yeah, I know you
Who
do.
are the council? Let's give some context to those who may not know the Downs story, right?
The council are my peeps.
Yeah.
The council are this group of infinite divine, high vibrational angelic beings that I've been channeling since about 2020. We met and we started working together, and it took a while to get the alignment and the energy to work with my physical body and for me to be able to run the energy through. And I share their messages of love, support, and guidance to the world, basically. And they are the ones who gave me the download in 2020 to create Spirit Calling. They told me the name of it. They told me the way it's supposed to look. They told me everything about it. And I built it. Like I listened. And it was to do what we're doing today, which is creating community, and housing
Mhm.
people and having a place for people to realize and understand who they are and what they want to bring to the world, and who they are as spiritual beings. We've all been taught, and I know that you've experienced, because we've talked about this, and so many others. We've been taught to be small. We've been taught to live in this reality that is, closed off, and that we just put one foot in front of the other, and we put our head down, and we do what our parents did and what this world has created for us to be within, which is you do this, then you go there, then you do this, and you start this, you get a house, you get a mortgage, you get credit cards, you build credit, you do this, it's all there for us. And we once you start seeing there's more to that. It's like what the council said in 2020, there's going to be a glass ceiling that breaks, and people are going to like have this realization that, there's like more to what our world was created in, to who we are, and that we are connected to all that is. We are a piece, a speck of all that is. I mean, if you think about that, it's incredible. It makes you get excited, and you get chills, because we're never told to look up. The guides, the Great Council of Light, always say, always busy, 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 never looking up, to understand who and what you are, been created to be. So they are, very powerful. They're very loving, and they really just want to help us to realize that, to understand that, to make our
Mm,
lives easier. They know that it's hard in our three-dimensional reality. They know that it's hard here on planet Earth, doing
sure.
this 9 to 5, doing this break from the matrix. They know, but they also know how wonderful it is. And they try to give us like lessons. They try to give us support. They try to help us and show us what it is we can do to make it a little bit easier.
Mm.
Because, we came here, tried to do this dance. We said, yay, I want to do this. Are you guys with me? And to our soul families. And we jumped down, and man, we couldn't wait to get here to propel our soul's growth and to learn all the things that is, you and I met now, and who knows what we'll do in the future, but we all do this dance continually through our entire lives. And so, it can shift in a year and 2 years and 10 years. You have no idea what you're going to do. And the more you open up to the possibilities of what is, the more you're aligning with all of those things that are already there and bringing them into your now. It's cool. That
It
was a
is cool.
tangent.
Oh, that's great. I love it. Have they ever been human? Like, have they ever mentioned that?
No, they have not been human. They are creator beings. So they're ancient, ancient creator beings that had a hand in creating us. So they have a vested
Wow.
interest in us. Yeah. Which is why they want to be here right now in our planet's history, in this great shift that's happening right now. You know,
Why did they create us?
we all were created to, so there were beings that were already on our planet, and there were beings, it's a long kind of hard story if you've never understood it before. There are beings that came to occupy this planet, and they kind of manipulated our DNA. I'm trying to give you the short, sweet version. They manipulated the beings that were here with beings that came and created us to be and serve in a certain way. And that's part of that manipulation and keeping us small and not allowing us. They manipulated our DNA. They closed us off to our clairsenses. And we have all of these tools inside of our bodies. We have all of these circuits and things that are built into us, like our pineal gland and our clairsenses and our chakra system and our soul body. A lot of people don't even know we have a soul body. And they dumbed us down so that we weren't connected to all of that, so that we could indeed be here and be in this position of being manipulated and controlled. And what's happening right now is that manipulation and that low density energy that occupies our planet is breaking down, and the Earth's frequency is raising, our frequency is raising, and the lower vibrational um, density that's controlling our world is breaking. And so that's why we're having this shift right now. It's interesting because you asked a heavy question right off the bat, but if you don't understand frequency and vibration, it's not going to make sense to you.
Yeah, yeah.
There's like a phase 1, phase 2, phase 5, phase 20, but there's a
I've just
lot.
always been
There's a
curious
lot.
about this. Nobody really talks
Yeah.
about that. I've asked
Yeah,
a lot of
totally.
channelers of,
Mhm.
like, how was it created? Like, I feel like in order to go forward into our future, like, you have to know where you've been, right? And so
Yeah.
I know I was born in '83. I know that, I've gone through an awakening process or remembering process, and here I am today questioning everything, diving
Yeah.
deep into the conspiracies 'cause I feel like it's all a conspiracy, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah.
I've read all the origin stories, the Genesis stories, the Gnostics versions, Robert Monroe's books. In his number, in
Mhm.
his second book, he talks about how, we were created as a source of energy, and then all of a sudden they realized that the greatest, I guess, emotion that released the most energy was like sadness or something, or fear or something like that.
Mm. That's
But
interesting.
yeah, it is interesting. So I feel like, to your point, maybe we were created as a source of energy originally. I don't know, right? And
Oh,
then
that
during that evolution, consciousness kind of became aware of itself within that. And now it's like, all right, well, let's level up here. Let's really see if these primitive animals can remember who they truly are as consciousness, as information, as all the things, and really evolve to a new point, whatever that looks like, right?
Mhm. Yeah, and I was just gonna say something. We come here over and over and over and over and over and over again. We are consciousness. We are energy. That's our form. That's who we are. We never die. Energy never dies. So we come here, and not just planet Earth. There's multiple Earths. There's multiple three-dimensional realities where we go. There's multiple other realities where we go to learn other things. And when we go back to source, when we go back to our origins of who we truly are, which is energy, and that's our soul body that functions, this three-dimensional body, this meat suit that we have. We go back to our origin, which is source energy, the highest vibration and frequency that there is. And that's where we desire to be. But we desire to come here to learn, to expand, to grow our consciousness, constantly growing our consciousness. And you hear about people who have near death experiences and leave this reality and go into that space, and they don't want to come back. They love it so much, but they know that they have to come back. And I was just talking to the guides yesterday, and they were talking about how I have been here many, many times to try and spread this awareness, to try and help people raise their vibrations and their frequency, to get into that space of understanding love, and having that expanded consciousness, and understanding of that. And that this that I am an aspect of the council, which was hard for me to even say. Like, I
Why is
had a
that?
hard
Is it the
time.
guilt of like worthiness of
No,
that?
it's the expansion process. It's
Hmm.
the worthiness. It's all a frequency. It's all a frequency. So, you had your life on planet Earth from when you came on until now, and you had a whole bunch of experiences that created who you are. Now, all of the times that you came here before and other places that you had experiences, they are a part of your energy body, a part of your soul body. I had trauma, I had experiences, I've seen some of them in work that I've done with the guides and work I've done with other people through my spiritual awakening journey. And you come here with fragments, with kind of fragments on your soul body and your energy body. And my job and awakening and understanding all those past lives and the work that I've done, I'm healing that soul body. I'm healing those experiences, that trauma, releasing it, understanding it. It's karma. And as I heal and as I fix those fractured pieces of my soul body, my vibration is raising, and my vibration is raising. My consciousness is expanding. My understanding is expanding. I'm having more and more connectivity. That's the journey, right? So some people don't have that experience when they come back. It's not what this lifetime is about, but other people do. So you're here now with this level of understanding. And so this role that I have now, that I joyfully, excitedly accepted and came down to do. I thought about, like, my childhood. I thought about they were talking to me about it yesterday. I thought about like the experiences I had with my dad and the contrast that I had, and the limited understanding of everything that I had, and how I had a hard time with my peers, but I had an easier time with older people because I think that their maturity and understanding was different. I don't know, but I always wanted to migrate to experiences and spaces that allowed me to be closer and more connected to the higher frequency experience, like music and art, and you go through, there's decades of your life, there's seasons of your life. And the more you experience, just in your human experience, the more you have understanding just of this experience here. And then you layer the spiritual aspect on it, and think about it like it's compounded, it's expanded. And you can look back on that former version of yourself, little Trey, teen Trey, young Trey in his 20s. Same with me. And look at where you were, what you understood, how you showed
Mhm.
up, the experiences that you had, how you maybe didn't feel empowered. Um, and you can see the growth. You can see the growth just in your three-dimensional experience. Now think about it spiritually. I mean, it's so cool. I
Yep.
have so much compassion for my younger self, you know, and all the things that we went through.
Yeah. Little Trey was a butthead.
I didn't know you yet.
But I mean, to your point, I think it's a part of the evolution. It's like you have to be that in order to be something new.
Right.
And a lot of that's programming too. A lot of it is just a product of your environment. Like it's a real thing. It's like
It is.
epigenetics for sure. And
Absolutely.
and again, I think we've all had um, correlated traumas in our lives where I too had issues with alcoholism in my family and
Mhm.
grew up through that. Uh, Grew up in a blended family, all the all the things that are associated with that, and then awakening to following someone else's path as far as
Yes.
career and worthiness, and trying to to reach that worthiness and get all the accolades and all the check boxes, and then you realize one day it's like, oh crap, there's so much more, to your point, that there
Yeah.
is out there. And then you start going down this path of like spirituality. You don't really know what it is because you don't have the lexicon to describe the things that you're experiencing. And
Mhm.
it's like a thirst for
Yeah.
more information, for more guidance, for more is start questioning things big time.
Yeah.
Like I question things all the time of like, is
Mhm.
this real? Science. I mean, what is it? The Nobel Prize winners prove that local realism is false. Like, so that means that the real world is not real.
Right.
This hard desk is not real. It's all like energy signatures or information, and it collapses out of the wave into a particle. And so, like everything I've been told, like I have to question it now. And so,
Mhm.
you have the guides, you channel the guides. Like, how do you find and discern information for yourself? Do you just take what they say for truth, absolute truth, or do you question that too?
Good question. Good question. It's funny because I was sitting on the beach with my mom this weekend, and I'll get to your answer, but this is important.
Sure.
We were just having a conversation. We were in like a full gospel church. My mom plucked us out of Catholic religion and put us into this experience. And there was like falling out and speaking in tongues and like all these experiences. And I think there was an exorcism or something. Some bit the
What?
pastor did an exorcism. And so my mom has that. I'm telling you that because my mom has that bank of understanding. So she has Catholicism, then she has this, and then she has whatever she has had up until she's 8. She just turned 80. And we were talking about frequency. It came up because my brother just had a huge life experience, almost died, just came back and he's healthy, he's conquered addiction. We were talking about what happens when you're under the influence of certain substances and how that opens you up to experience, energies, and how it's, almost like an open door to them. And she said, well, I have experience in that. And in my mind, I was like, you don't even understand, because you haven't had experiential learning. You've had what you have. So that's your understanding, and you have what you've seen. But to answer your question, have had many, 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 many experiences that have taught me the vibration and the level of understanding that exists with the Great Council of Light. So I had to go through years of opening up, being that open door, because like you said, when you start to understand that there's more to our reality, when you start to understand that this world that was created is not all that there is, when you start to understand all the things, you ask the questions and you're searching for your own truths, you go on this, you're on your spiritual awakening journey. There's like the intellect of that, but then you start to want to have experiences. You want to start experiencing, yoga and, or, um, I don't know, sound bowl healings. And you
Mhm.
start to understand frequencies. And then you start to do work with Akashic records or Reiki or whatever. And you start to have physical sensations and experiences spiritually. And you start to receive, and you just start this experiential learning process. um, when you start to open yourself up to all that, you have to have a learning experience to understand what low frequency beings are, what entities are, what higher dimensional beings are. You start to understand, in my experience and some other people that I've talked to, you start to have that larger picture open up, open up, open up. And through that, I had experiences with hugely demonic beings, like
Really?
extremely powerful. Yeah, that tried to suck me into tunnels and stuff like that. I've had negative energies permeate my being. So I felt them all. I have experienced, I'm sure there's more that I haven't, but I've experienced a lot that has helped me understand who the council is, what they are teaching. Like, we work together. They work with me with people. I do what I've learned is called somatic healing,
Mhm.
channeling. And they work on me all the time, and they hold me and they move my body, and they pull energy through my limbs. I can feel it being pulled out my fingers. They work on my pineal gland. They work on me. They are loving beings. So I have listened and I have received guidance for different things in my life. And when I don't listen, I see that my life doesn't improve. I see that my life changes in a different way. So I have learned through receiving and understanding and putting that energetic conviction out. I know who they are because of that. My life has gotten better. My life has expanded. My spirituality has expanded. My opportunity to experience love has expanded. Everything has gotten better and greater and more vast. Um, yeah, sure. I mean, there's things that I have to experience because I'm a human being, living in this three-dimensional reality. And I get mad at them sometimes. Like, why did you tell me this and that? And because there's probabilities and there's timelines and there's individual decisions and there's collective decisions that affect everything. And so there's a continual like flow to the universe that's, moving,
Mhm.
and everything is affected by that. And they always talk about how there's energy that's swirling around us, that's pushing and pulling and changing things continually. And it's hard for us to understand because we have this box that we live in our three-dimensional reality, but there's so much more
Sure.
happening all the time. Um,
Well,
the
talk about
guidance that
the demonic beings. Like, when did they
yeah,
try to attack you and suck down these tunnels? Is that through meditation? Is that through sleep? Like, when
yeah.
was that really taking place?
The question in the beginning, when I was so open and I was, learning so it all started with me starting to understand and hear, have knowings, have visions, receiving like little tidbits of information. And I started listening to it and I started honoring it and letting it like guide me into different directions. And one of the things that I started knowing was that I was going to do plant medicine. And I didn't know how, I didn't know how I would get there. I didn't know the circumstances and all the details, but I knew I was going. And I wound up doing this plant medicine journey that was a week-long ayahuasca journey. And at the end of that journey, I had this white light shoot through my forehead, my whole body filled up with vibration. I was buzzing, my teeth were chattering, the back of my head was going zzz, and I heard everything. Your psychic abilities have enhanced. Everything from this moment forward will be different. And then right after that, I came home and it was COVID. It was March of 2020. The whole world shut down. And I had this bank of time where I was just being led to sit in my living room every morning and to just sit there with my heart open, with my hands on my lap and just connecting with nature through my window outside and saying, okay, everything that I've honored and respected and listened to from this moment, before to that ayahuasca journey, to the light coming, like it led me to here. I'm here to work together, to co-create, to continue whatever this is, right? I kept being presented with things and my life was changing. So I wanted more. It wasn't like this thing out of somewhere. And I had this high frequency group of feminine beings come in that were like super buoyant and super loving. And they came in and they presented themselves to me and they talked to me and they told me why they were there and who they were. And right after they would leave, I would have a past life experience come through. And I had two other experiences like that prior to my ayahuasca. I had a heart opening happen where I was doing a Reiki share and they were working on me and all this energy started flowing through my whole body. And then suddenly my heart opened and I had this roaring and all of this emotion come through my heart. And then I had an experience with my throat chakra when I was getting attuned for Reiki 1. I had the same thing happen. My throat chakra broke wide open and I had this past life come through. So when those energies came and they told me like we were going to work on past lives now, I started experiencing the past lives, like all these traumatic experiences. I would have dreams about them at night, but I would experience past life. I would have to go through the death of it. And then I have to release the emotion of it. And I did all this deep work, like morning after morning after morning for like a year. As I was doing that, my vibration was raising and my frequency was raising. So my connectivity was enhancing and the beings were able to connect with me more and more. But while I was doing all of that, I was opening myself, my light was getting brighter and
Mm.
that attracts more to me. And I was going through this process of like, I was alone. I was alone. I didn't have anyone helping me. I had one person kind of saying, well, you can put these black tourmalines around the corners of your room and form a grid and put a celadon wand underneath your bed and call on your angels and your protectors. But they would see my light. And when I would go to sleep, when I'm in that place where I get a lot of downloads, you're half awake, half asleep,
Mhm.
I would have like these energies, these negative energies come in my body. And I would call on Jesus to help release them, to help release them. And they would, because they couldn't stay in because the frequency wouldn't allow them to stay in. And so I had to go through this process. It was like a training ground, basically. But one time I was away on vacation and I think probably had two martinis and I was in a vibration. I was in a lower vibration
Mhm,
and they
mhm.
took that. They do it now too. They took it as a open door.
An
And
invitation.
I was in the middle of falling asleep and I saw this black tunnel come and I felt this force come and they were like pulling on me. And I always called to Jesus because I've had a close relationship with him since I was a kid.
Mhm.
And when they hear that, they release, they leave. And I was like, I mean, Trey, I was like a 44-year-old woman. It affected me so much. I was on vacation with my family. I went in and climbed in my mom's bed because it freaked me out so much. Like,
Oh, wow.
I had I had to experience all those things. Um, I feel like I'm talking all over the place, but
You're great. I
I think
love it.
what happens is like, you know, you got to go through it or there's no way for you to understand it.
Sure.
So people could see me, they put a clickbait snippet on when my Sean Kelly Digital Social Hour interview, they put a snippet of me bringing the counsel in. So people can see that. And because of whatever they have experienced, have seen in their life, they call it possessed by, a demon. They call it,
Mhm.
you have lower, they don't know. They have no idea. That's my point. I do, because I've been through all of these things. I've showed the courage, and I've stepped up and continually wanted to learn more because of the nuggets, because of the experiences, because what I have experienced vibrationally. I wasn't that person back when this all started, but I am now.
What
And
would you have said 10 years ago? I don't know if you were open to that or not. If someone had said, "Hey, Pam, you have a past life."
10 years ago, I would have been like, yeah, man, tell me more. That's when I was in my, like, yeah, I believe we're reincarnated. You know, that's Jesus did Reiki. Like, that's when I was in that discovery phase. When I was a Catholic, when I was immersed in religion, I would be probably like my mom. Really? You think
Mhm.
so? You know, I don't typically talk about her a lot, but I'm bringing another Downs into the conversation.
Here we go, baby.
She believes, and most people do, is that we're born. You know, we come into this world, we live our life. If you're a Christian, you believe that Jesus died to give you eternal
Mhm.
life, and then you believe that you die and there's a place that you go, but they don't ever talk about where you come from. And that was like the beginning part of my breakdown with religion. I didn't understand it, you know. And I would say, if God is love, how is God going to sit on a throne and I'm going to go walk up to him and he's going to say, you lived a good life and you have eternal life, or you were a terrible person and you sinned and you're in eternal damnation. I'm like, if God is love, they don't go together.
Sure.
And so that stuff started breaking down. But that's the discovery process. That's the evolution of remembering who you are. You know, that's that journey that you go down. That's wonderful. And it's like you said, you question everything
Mhm.
and you use your discernment. That's
And
what
it's almost a
everyone needs
death
to
though.
do.
Like I find like
Yeah.
Jesus' story is a metaphor for the actual process of awakening. Like
Hmm.
I look at the devil, I look at as a literal being. I don't know. But I look at it metaphorically as the ego structure,
Hmm.
right? Like I will give you everything in the world if you just bow down to me. And then you have the Mother Mary, which is the divine wisdom or divine feminine. And
Hmm.
then, really uh the archons from Gnostic tradition are the social norms.
Hmm.
Jung talked about this a lot in his writings, and he was writing about this in like the 1915s, before the Nag Hammadi library was even discovered in 45. So like he had
Hmm.
access to ancient texts before anybody. And it's interesting because we want to take things so literal, like even
Yeah.
the alchemy, right? Like people actually think it's about taking metals and making gold. It's
Right.
actually finding that spark within and turning that into the divine wisdom, the divine consciousness.
Yeah.
So I think it's all a metaphor for the process of enlightenment, if you want to call it that. I hate calling it that because it has like this preconception of what it is. And I think,
Right.
I don't know what it is. And I think that's the beauty of it. It is a mystery. And I love watching Terrence McKenna. He talked about psychedelics, like he talks about DMT and everybody's so scared
Hmm.
of it. And he's like, it's going to be a death, but it's going to be a death by astonishment because you're going to
Hmm.
walk into something and you totally don't know what it is. Like
Oh
it's going to
yeah.
be so outside the realm of your reality that it's going to be so confusing when you get back. You're not even going to be able to write about it because you won't have words to describe it.
Yeah.
And I think to me, that is like what a God is. Like, how can we possibly understand what God is? Like, we've created this narrative of what it is or what he is in the
Hmm.
Bible. And it's not that. It looks exactly like man to me.
Hmm.
Um, and then in the New Testament, it look like the divine feminine to me.
Hmm.
So let's bridge the two. Let's make the triangle. Let's make the divine masculine, the feminine, and the child, and create something new from that, birthed from a virgin into this Christ consciousness. The tricky part is there's going to have to be a death of something. Like you're going to have to give up something, to your point about lower frequencies. Like you're going to have to give up attachments, and you're going to have to, avoidances. And, Ram Dass, to me, his new book, I can't even believe they're releasing a new book. Like I
Yeah.
just was, somebody sent me a new book of his and I was like, man, I wonder how many books he still has in stock. Like they haven't released yet. But
He
he's
lives
talking
on.
about, yeah, he lives on for sure. But he talks about his suffering and trying to get to heaven all the time, like always
Yeah. Yeah.
trying to be enlightened, be that mystic, be that saint. And it took a non-human intelligence named Emmanuel to tell him, say, hey, look, you enrolled in this course of humanity. Why don't you try to taking it? Like, why don't you
Yeah.
just try to be human for like freaking 2 seconds
That's so
and do all
beautiful.
the things?
Hmm. It's so interesting. It's just so interesting. That's how I feel like the reason that people identify with me and want to hear what I have to say is because I'm not a book smart in all of this. I've done a lot of research. It doesn't stay in here. It was part of my development and my journey and my understanding. But it's for me, it's daily practice. It's every day. There is no finish line. There is no like I don't think there's no enlightenment. It is taking the understanding that you have and putting it into practice every single freaking day of your life. Every decision that you make. It's love or fear. It's as simple as that. There's nothing else to understand. Fear is a low frequency, love is a high frequency. You are continually, if you are in line with trying to be enlightened, trying to understand all that is, you just have to continually put it into practice, put it
Mm-hmm.
into exercise, into practice, because then you get to see everything change. You get to see the law of attraction in motion. You get to see vibration. You get to see it. It changes your life. So then that turns it and flips it upside down, and it becomes you become a witness to it. It becomes evidential. It is there, right? And that's the thing. If you're, everyone's brain is different. Everyone is structured differently. So someone who loves to read books, loves to learn, loves to saturate their mind and develop all of that, that's how they're going to do it. Everyone has their own path, but it's really very simple. Um, it's all about frequency. It
Mm-hmm.
really is all about frequency.
At a certain point, though, you got to stop reading and take that
I agree.
conceptual knowledge and apply it. And
Hmm.
that's been the hardest thing for me because I read all the books and I love the saturation of the brain with information. It's the
Right. I hear that from
application
you.
process
That
that
makes sense,
is
though.
that is tough because it's like how do you apply it to a place where it's not you're not supported, right? Like the we've been taught a certain thing, our parents have been taught a certain thing, and call it the matrix, call it like programming, call it whatever, the game, the myth, the illusion. And so to break free of that, like you're going to have to be totally something different than what you've ever been. And
You're
that
doing
is
it.
the yeah, 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 for sure.
It's
But
Yeah.
but there's a death and there's a rebirth, and I think you're in a prime example of death rebirth. I mean, you had the family, you had the company, you had the title, you had the income, salary, whatever, and then all of a sudden you're selling your house and you're getting out of the 401k game and you're doing all these things, right? Like you're doing it based upon instructions you're receiving from a non-human intelligence.
Yeah,
So there comes a lot
absolutely.
of great trust in that. Like that is a
Right.
great trust in something as the Council of Light. And like,
That's my
that,
point. You just
yeah,
made it. Absolutely. And you're doing it. Like you're doing something different. Whatever it is, you're going to be a totally different person next year, maybe next month. Who the frick knows? You might have an experience that just blows you wide open. That's the beauty of it. It's like the more you're putting action into it, you're putting energy behind wanting to know more. You are out there talking, having these conversations, connecting energetically to people who are listening to you. It's expanding them, it's changing their life. That puts energy out and a conviction out into the universe, and that ripples back to you,
mhm,
right? So that's going to continually unfold and expand for you. Like it's the coolest thing. We're not doing what our parents did, nor will like our kids do what we're doing. Like everyone's doing what they're supposed to and what they came here to do. That's the beauty of it. Like you right now, just by having this conversation with me, there's maybe something will trigger you to go read something else. Like you have no idea. Like it's the
sure,
coolest thing. Um, the kids that are coming on the planet are different. Your kids are little. They're different. They're coming at a higher frequency. They're going to do different things than what we did. You're younger
mhm,
than me. Every generation is different. Uh, I keep talking about my mom, but sitting on the beach feeling her frequency, knowing how she was brought up. She's a boomer. They were brought up in this box that's where they stay and feel comfortable in. Like it's calling the doctor when there's a, well, it's having continual this and that. That's where they thrive. That's where, and then every generation is doing more and breaking out more and finding their own truths. And it's kind of like a parallel to a spiritual awakening journey. You're changing continually. And I just think it's really beautiful. Like that's exactly what I mean. Like when you start to get the nudges, it could just be as simple as go down this street and not that. It could just be
Mhm.
as simple as, should I take this job or that job? I mean, they're not simple. They're hard choices, but you
Sure.
understand what I mean. They're not like super spiritual things, but they are, because every single choice is a spiritual choice. You know, you could have not reached out to me and we would have never met. And now we met, and who knows what we'll do together. And for everyone, that's the example.
Yeah. Well, I saw you on a podcast and I was like, I have to reach out to a Downes through channels, like for sure. Like I have to.
And now we
Um,
might find out we have some common relatives. I mean, like, I didn't know you were on the
yeah,
planet
I know,
Earth,
right?
like how many months ago.
um, yeah, I've never seen you at family reunions, right? Like, these aren't the conversations I'm having there. I can tell you that.
For sure.
But yeah, I think because it's when you go to the gym, you see over 6 months, you see a physical transformation where
Mhm.
spirituality is non-physical. Like you can't see it, and sometimes you're not even aware to it. But there is suffering attached to it because it's like you can no longer live in the system that you've been brought up in, like, and you feel freaking weird about it. Like you
Yeah.
feel like wrong about it. Like, you feel like there's something wrong with you. Like, what is wrong with me? Like, why can't I have the conversations that I want to that I want to have with people? I go out into society, and they're speaking about the conspiracies. I think conspiracy theories about the government, the CIA, and all the things, the UAPs, the UFOs, they're eye candy. Like I don't mind getting into that and talking about it, but like, how does that help me be a better human? And again, I've created a lot of suffering for myself in trying to get to heaven all the time, like all the
Mhm.
time, like getting outside of the bubble of Earth, like and
Mhm.
having out of body experiences, trying to have out of body experiences, going in deep into my meditations for an hour and a half, trying to be an ascetic, and reject all of the worldly things. And it just created a gap between me and my humanity. And it's
Right.
like there is a middle way, a middle path, like what Buddha talks about. Like that shit is real. Like that is real. Like that is legitimate. Like when you even trying to be an ascetic and like rejecting all the things, like there is a force attached to that. It's just the opposite end of the magnet. And you're building an equal and opposite force to that. So it still has power over you. It's like when you don't give it any power, like when you can just be in that and not be manipulated either way, that's when you're truly free.
Yeah.
And for
Well,
me, go ahead. You want to say something?
I was just going to say that within your words right there, the trying, um, it's surrender. So suffering, I think this is a really interesting topic. You know, the guides always say, you don't need to suffer. Why does this happen to me? Why did
Yep.
this? Rather we ask you to say, what have I learned from this? What was the lesson from this? I only say that because I believe suffering is necessary. I believe suffering breaks open and allows surrender. When you're trying, you're not surrendering. When you are trying to do it yourself, you are not surrendering. You are limiting yourself to just be alone. And that's the opposite of who we are. We are not alone. We have this force and this power of the universe conspiring for us every second, every moment. Anything we want is there for us. So it's allowing what Buddha says, it's allowing, and that releasing and knowing that it is there. So that's the attachment, that's the
Mhm.
constriction, that's the barrier, and that's the thing that creates you to be in a silo by yourself when you're not. and that's an understanding. And the moment that that breaks, there's someone in my community that always talks about, and I love them. They talk about who they are with labels. I have this, I have that, I did this, I have that, I have that. But that is just creating this like house around you that's restricting you. And so you are constantly telling yourself what you are. And it's not an outward, expansive, open release to allow. It's a constriction. That's what I mean about trying, allow. I know exactly what you're saying. I freaking know it. That's the
You're
human
Downs. You know
experience.
exactly what I'm talking about.
That's human experience. I'm like, where's it coming? What are we doing? Why is this? You know, and I got this amount of operating expense of funding left. I got this amount right here. What are we doing? You know, and you just surrender into that and you just release it and you let it go. And like next week, a freaking swell comes that takes care of you for a year. But you had to just let it the fuck go.
Yeah,
And it's so hard. But that is the release.
it is hard. Where do you go? Let's talking about letting go. Like when you bring in the council of light, like where is your consciousness?
It goes off to the side. It's still there, but there's just like we have a relationship, right? I feel like they're always with me. And I just feel the energy come in and I kind of move off to the side and then they just start coming through and my heart gets racy and my energy gets, kind of zappy and there's a physicality to it.
Sure.
Because we're still working together. We're still integrating. And like you said before, I'm running a marketing, branding, and communications firm 24/7. It's a real thing. It's a full-time gig that I'm leading. And I'm also leading this spiritual community and I have clients and like I am like, pulled. And when there is another time in my future where I'm just able to be connected to the council, like, and work with them every single day and really, really just dive in. I think that constriction and all of that will go away because I'm so embedded in this 3D freaking
Mhm.
calendar and Outlook and and Zoom like all day long every day and networking and stuff that I'll be able to work more deeply in integrating and connecting like intentionally for maybe like a couple hours every day. I mean, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and they are powerful. They're really super powerful and they're super loving. Like they talk to me constantly. I'm in bed, they're talking to me. I'm in the shower, they're channeling to me. I
Is there a
have,
distinct voice that you hear? Like, is it man or male,
well,
female voice?
good question. When I hear them, it's neutral. There's neither of those. It just comes in. It's actually like just words. It's like understandings and knowings. They just come in. When I speak it, it's like it's got an accent and it's
Yeah,
not.
I've seen it.
Yeah,
Like, so
yeah,
I see you read a lot though. Like, are you like hesitant to like channel? Like,
yeah, because it's hard. I still get stage fright and I push myself to do it all the time. I just
mhm,
did and launched this mastermind, which the guides told me to do. And so it's me and, a group of members that sign up to work with me in the council and my colleague Dina monthly, and I channel live with them. And so it's so interesting, Trey. Like when I went on Next Level Soul, it was the first time I ever did an in-person podcast appearance. And they came in so freaking powerfully. They tripped like the system up and Alex had to go and like reset something. And he's like, I've never had that happen before. And when I was done channeling, he's like, I know Bashar very well. I'm like, I know you do. And he's like, this is like Bashar energy. It's like even stronger than Bashar energy. And I was like, I know, I feel that myself. I've never had anyone say that to me. And then when I went to Sean Kelly, Digital Social Hour podcast,
mhm.
he films like, I don't know, 8, 9 or 12, I don't know, 12 podcasts a day. Can you imagine?
Wow. No, I
They
couldn't.
come in and out. They come in and out. Like people are waiting and they go in and
But like,
out.
where if you're doing that like all day long, like where do you have the ability to do your research and then like really connect with someone if you're just mixing your energies with them? You know what I mean? Because like I really like
Very,
to
very
prepare. Not saying that's wrong or anything, but it's like I
no, but
can
you make a
tough.
very good point. You make a very good point. Something I noticed as well. But when I went in there, we sat down, and Dina goes everywhere with me. So Dina made a she's like Esther and Jerry. She's like my Jerry. Do you
Oh,
know
wow.
Esther and Jerry? Yeah,
Yep,
she's
yep.
my Jerry. And she
Smart
goes,
Jerry.
she's my Jerry. She's my Jerry. She's this little petite thing. She's my Jerry. But she made a joke, like we were kind of getting to know each other, or going through like the thing. He and I were sitting at the podcast desk, and she was over to the side, and there's monitors. I don't know if you've ever seen him. There's like monitor screens everywhere, big displays behind you. And the tech person kept coming in and going out, and coming in and going out, and coming in and going out. And Sean was like, well, what's going on? He's like, I got this weird trippy thing on this one monitor. I can't seem to make it go away. And he's like, well, try and do this and try and do that. And they kept trying to do that, and it didn't go away. And then he's like, we're just going to have to start. We're going to have to go.
Mhm,
So we did it. The whole freaking time, the monitor kept
mhm.
blinking and tweaking and stuff like that. And he even posted about it. He said, I did like 3 podcasts before she got there. I did like 9 afterwards, and it never happened before ever. And it never happened before the day or after she left. She's like, something was in there. It was the council. It was their energy. When I do the mastermind, people have like, they start unzipping their jackets and stuff. And like, they're like fanning themselves
Everybody's
because
getting naked. Like, why is
they
everybody getting naked? I don't
everybody's
know what's
getting
going
naked.
on.
But they definitely have these like visceral reactions to it, because it's really powerful. And if you sign up to do the mastermind, you're making a conviction that you want to have a relationship. So it becomes like really profound and very, very cool.
Mm,
So I'm still learning all this shit. Like,
yeah.
I'm still in wonderment and amazed about it. And I'm just following one foot in front of the other.
Mm, that's beautiful. Like, so when you're bringing that frequency and information through, like, how does it change reality? Like, people, what are the transformations that you've seen with your clients?
Yeah, it's so cool. So when I started working with clients, I wasn't doing it like this, like with the live channeling. I do automatic writings. I don't know if we mentioned that before. So not only do I say it out of my voice and speak it, but I do automatic writing. So I got very good at that, and I've done that for a long time. So I connect and I call in the council and I say, I need a message, I need guidance to support this person in, what is the best and highest information that they need to support them on their spiritual journey. And they already know that we're going to be working together, because they're just aware of everything. And the profound messages and information about things I don't even know about their life. They'll give me guidance to give them. They'll give me understanding about situations. They'll talk about past trauma in their life. And it's just made, profound changes in people's lives if they choose to listen to the guidance, if there's direction, and they have the courage, and they leave fear behind and make the big decisions, like leaving the job or moving to a new location. This one guy, he has the same name as you, actually. Just realized
Downs?
that. No, your first name.
Another
I worked
Downs?
with him. Yeah, I worked with him like late last year, and it was about like moving jobs. It was about family, and the guidance that came from the council was very specific. And he did it. He put it into play, and his whole life changed. His house sold at exactly the right time for so much more than he was supposed to get. Another one came on the market. The job that he didn't think he was going to get got offered within the company that he wanted to stay. Like all the things.
Mhm.
Right now, it's turned into like really deep healing. And I'm working with someone right now who, this the relationship with her mother came through, experiences in her youth came through, the work that we're going to do now came through, specific work and meditations that we need to do came through, and we're shifting. They want to find their soul path, they want to find their purpose in life, but there's healing that needs to be done, because their frequency needs to rise to be able to fall into alignment with their soul's work. So it's like incredible. It's incredible. I didn't know I was going to be doing things like that,
Mm,
you know? And
mhm.
now they're, when I'm channeling for people, like meditations are coming through. Like this pineal gland meditation came through. I didn't know I was going to channel a meditation. I wasn't on like the to-do list. It came. It's incredible. And then I hired this woman who does a custom sound healing for our community every month. I hired her to do a pineal gland frequency to marry with the words of the Great Council of Light.
Mhm.
So this meditation, when I was recording it, the council came in. And so it's like they are leading you in a frickin' meditation. And they say things like, you will feel the pressure in your head, and you feel the pressure in your head
Yeah.
exactly when they're saying, like, it's incredible. And people are having more connection, more dreaming, all kinds of cool things. And then this womb activation meditation just came through. And
Mm.
I wrote it down. I got this little list of all these meditations they've told me about. And they kept saying to me one Monday about a month ago, or all weekend, time to do the womb activation, time to do the womb activation. I'm like, I don't have time. Well, my Monday morning cleared, meetings got canceled, and I was like, okay, all right, I got it now. I'll channel it. So I channeled it. That night I had a meeting with someone for a soul path coaching discovery session. And she's like, I want to work on the energy of the womb. And I'm like, that
Got
next
something for
day,
you. Yep.
yep. The next day I talked to this woman and she's like, I want to work on my womb. And then that Thursday I led a group in Perth, Australia of women. This woman said, Pamela, do you work with spirit babies? And I was like, what does that mean to you? She's like, I want to work on my womb. I just literally started crying because I was like, see what I mean? They're one step ahead of
Sure.
me all the time. So next is masculine energy. It's right here. I'm going to do a package for men. It's about self-love, healing of severed relationships,
Mm.
connecting. Like, it's incredible, empowerment. I have to channel them. They're not done yet, but it's like, that's the deep work. If you feel called to work on yourself, that's how you raise your frequency. That's how you step into the spaces of connection, of receiving, of all of the things.
Mhm.
So to get back to your first question, that's what I'm excited about.
Well, I'm really interested in like, of course everyone's talking about it, but like, where are we headed? You talk about this glass ceiling breaking. Is that
Yeah,
the social norms, being turned on its head? And if so, like, what will society look like moving forward? Will it be a dystopia where everyone's just like basically in shelters and living, in their basement and afraid to go out into the real world because of like, the unknown? I don't know. Like, I know you do a lot of predictions, not predictions, but you read a lot of what they have to say about the future state of
yeah,
humanity. And I'm really curious. Um, what are they saying?
yeah. So they're saying we have to go through this hard breakdown first, and it's necessary, obviously. We have to break down those paradigms, those dynamics. They have to be broken down for a higher frequency reality to reveal itself. And they talk about that. They talk about what that looks like our former civilizations, like Lemuria and Atlantis. They talk about a society where everyone is working together. They talk about free energy. They talk about instantaneous healing. They talk about us using all of our senses to communicate without even speaking. So imagine, Trey, where we are now and how we have to get there. There's a lot of shifts, a lot of changes that have to happen to get to that place.
Yeah.
Um, they talked about an intergalactic civilization.
Intergalactic, planetary. I
Yeah, I
love that
mean it.
song.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's a cool thing. Keep going.
Ah.
But, like,
I
man,
mean,
I
but
think
you're
that's
always
the
hearing
coolest
that though,
thing.
intergalactic,
Mhm.
these civilizations, these non-human civilizations. But again, it's like, I'm so curious to their skin in the game for us. You talk
Mhm.
about altercations, DNA, altercations or upgrades. What is the ideal human capable of, like at
Mhm.
that level of the highest that we can possibly obtain and achieve? Like,
Mhm.
was it Jesus? Was it, I don't
Yes.
like, to be completely honest with you, I don't even like, there's just so many theories out there. Like, maybe, what was Jesus a myth? Like, maybe he was, because a lot of pre-Christian cults or heresies were based upon like Plato's allegory of the cave, I think, just in my opinion. So in Plato's cave, they have a guy who leaves the cave, goes out and sees the light, and comes back and tells them that you've been manipulated. This isn't true reality. And there's the light
Mhm.
and all the things. And there's such a greater reality out there. And they try to kill him, right? Like, they were like, no, you're wrong. We're going to try to kill you. Same thing with Jesus. There's a lot of similarities in that.
Mhm.
So maybe there is an entity dependent upon that story or narrative, but like I'm more interested in like self-empowerment. Like, how do I
Mhm.
get to that ability where people are, I can go out and I can, how do I say this without sounding like a complete ass? Um, I'm I'm truly free.
Yeah,
Like my inner game is so strong that I don't need anything outside of me to make me happy. Like
right,
I am truly free of the game, if that makes sense.
right. It does make sense. I think that you should do the pineal gland activation meditation, honestly. I really truly believe that. Yeah, I mean, there's so many stories, there's so many things that have been created for all of the belief systems. There's so many books, there's so many theories, there's so many things. In regards to Jesus, I mean, he comes to me just like all of the other beings that I told you about. He comes to me. He has a frequency. I see, a representation of what I learned that he looks like when I was a kid, but I feel his energy. I feel his frequency. Um, I believe, that from what I've been told, that they talk about in pineal gland meditation, our DNA has been manipulated. The strand has been manipulated. They've taken out parts of the things that create us to be that superhuman that we were created to be. The pineal gland itself is an antenna, it's a receptor, it has crystals in it. Think about that technology, much like our
Mhm.
eyeball. That's why they call it the third eye. And you can feel it when you do the freaking thing. You could feel it expanding. You could feel it expanding and pulsing. Your chakra systems are energy centers that run through your body, your soul. I mean, there's so many chakras. We have all of this technology inside of us. Our clairsenses, the ability to see, to hear, to sense, to feel, to smell. Um, we will be able to use all of those abilities. And that's what Jesus did when he performed miracles. Buddha, I mean, I believe they were, I don't know. I don't know. I'm putting all my truths together too. I don't know the truth about all that
Sure.
stuff, but they had very similar stories, right? He and Buddha. Um, but, to be able to pull upon all of those things to live in the civilization that they spoke about, where we're telepathically speaking, like, have you had any telepathic experiences? Have you thought of someone and then suddenly they call you? Have you thought of someone and suddenly you run into them at the farmer's market, at the bookstore, whatever? Yeah, that's telepathic communication. I mean, it happens to me all the time, but you have to vibe at a frequency to be able to start working with it. They're tools. They're you have to awaken to all of them. And that's, I believe, part of the spiritual awakening journey,
Mhm.
depending how much you dive into it and you experience with surrender, with energetic conviction, but then surrender, not
Sure.
being connected to an outcome.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the catch, right? Because of the fear that it won't happen, so you try to control it. But as far as like telepathic communication, like my wife, I guess, assumes that I can do that sometimes. Like I don't do,
Yeah.
like she's like, "Hey, I thought you were going to do that." Well, she's giving me hints that I should be doing things, right? Because I can read her mind, right? But I'm not there yet, but one day for sure. I just feel like I could talk to you like all the time, like all
I
day,
know.
every day,
Well,
right?
we can continue to talk more and more, and I'm gonna see you in September, which is
Yes,
very
at my
exciting.
my live event, in-person
I
event,
know. It's
right? We're gonna
amazing.
talk about leadership, and we're gonna talk about
Mhm.
not necessarily leadership, but like overall as a human being, like what does that look like in society when you start awakening, and how do you present these different models of being a
Yeah.
human, right? But also in touch with your spirituality. Like how does that change the environment? Like how do you become a different leader? How do you present? How do you walk into a board meeting? How do you walk into meetings in general, one-on-ones? How do you walk into your house with your kids? Like how does that change you? So
It's
I'm excited for
amazing.
that.
Me too. It's amazing because when you couple that with how you show up in a board meeting, how you show up in a networking event, how you show up to speak in a speaking engagement. Like, I walk in a room, like I told you, I'm out there networking constantly. I went into this women's, it was just like a gathering of professionals going to dinner, getting to know each other. And they were all waiting in this lobby and they were all sitting in this like horseshoe shaped couch. And I just walked in and I vibe at a frequency that's high. And I was like, hi, everybody. Like, you get to a point where you're not, You don't worry about what people think about you.
Mhm.
You really genuinely want to meet people. You want to hear their story because you're connecting in a different way than how's this going to benefit me, or how is this, whatever,
Sure.
whatever, all the things we've been taught to do. And it becomes like people are like, who is she? Who are you? I want to know more about you. And then you're
Mhm.
like, yeah, let's talk. And like, there's an openness to you because of your vibration, and it shifts everything. It shifts business, it shifts relationships, it shifts everything, because no longer are you willing to accept anything less than. It's always greater, or at this frequency or above. You're always trying to achieve something at here or above. It's here or greater always, because you can't go into those lower frequency spaces because it doesn't serve you and you know it. So it gets harder and
Yeah.
harder and harder.
Do they ever talk about, like, the entities or the powers that be that are controlling and manipulating? Like, do they ever talk about
Yeah.
how that will be overthrown?
Yeah. That's that shift of the lower density frequency that's breaking down right now. And it's all breaking down. It's a big subject. They talk about the beings that control our planet. They're the ones who have created the systems that we work within: the financial system, the education system, the food system, the medical system, all of it, government system. And the reason that they are the way that they are, and the low frequency that they are, our music, our entertainment, all of it. It's in a place that keeps you at a certain frequency and not above. The news that's pumped out continually, right? The chaos that's pumped and put in front of your eyes continually to keep you busy, keep your mind space busy, keep your conversations busy, keep your social page busy, keep everyone distracted. The systems of having sides and always competing and fighting and choosing, and it's like positioning. It's like, think about it. Take a bird's eye view for a moment and think about it. What is our world? What does it consist of? It consists of contrast. So when you start to see that, you see the play that's in front of your eyes. You see there's no red or blue. Everybody's playing for the same team, and that team is contrast and chaos and all of that. I mean, we should talk about that on a podcast, because
Hmm.
that's what's breaking down. The guides talked about in 2024 in their energy update predictions video that there would be an assassination attempt on our former president, and people would fall from their high positions in the music industry, and that we saw that. But that's the beginning of the breakdown of all of that. They're trying to put war in the forefront. There's so many tactics, there's so many initiatives, there's so many strategies, there's so many things. Your kids are little, right? You can house them and protect them and shield them and guide them, and be this over them now. But when they start getting older, the world, it's coming at them when they're little. But like,
Mhm.
my kids were in high school and they were getting credit card applications because they want them in the system, to get enslaved in that debt system, because then that's that worry, that's that doubt, that's that fear, that's occupying their brain 100% of the time. That low frequency food, the news, the music, it's continually cascading around us and in front of us. Um, that's what starts to shift, and it's 11:11. That's what starts to shift.
It's
You start saying,
11:11. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
you start saying, I don't
11:11.
want to do that. I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to be that anymore. I don't want that anymore. I don't want a different,
Yeah.
Mhm.
What is true freedom though? Like, breaking free of that matrix and, like, living without fear and knowing
Yeah.
that you are a conscious creator and that you
Yes.
are not just from your perceptions from conditioning, but you are actually a creator of consciousness in which you can shape and reshape your reality.
Yes. Very well said. You're the creator of your reality. So, however and whatever that means to you, your discernment, your truths, going against the norm, making that hard call to your financial advisor and saying, I need to do this because that's what resonates with you, you know, exiting out of religion, taking your kids out of CCD. These were all the things I did. Leaving the marriage that wasn't serving me. Like, they're all the freaking hard things you do, but you're living your truth. You're living what resonates with you, and you're creating your own dial and compass of what it is you want for your life. And that's all that matters.
Hmm.
Doesn't matter how your parents respond, how your family responds. It doesn't mean you have to be curt. and pious, or whatever the word is, and you be kind and love focused, love forward. You just do you, boo. You know.
Do you, boo? I love it. Downsy, man,
Downsy.
you
This
really
was
crushed
awesome.
this. Crush this. Point people to where you're at, because I know a lot of them will want to learn more about your work.
Thank you for saying that. The website and community that I created is spirit-calling.com. It's called Spirit Calling. Inside that special place, it's a whole bunch of people just like you. If you're having questions and you're having, ideas and realizations, come. There's a 7-day free trial. You have a full immersive experience. I'm very present in the community. There's weekly events. It's awesome. I have a YouTube channel where I share guidance. I share things. I teach and stuff like that, but I also share predictions, and energy updates that the council gives me. A lot of dreams, a lot of things about our world right now. That's Spirit Calling Pamela, and my Instagram is Spirit Calling Pamela, my TikTok. But if you're feeling drawn to heighten your connection to the universe, to whatever, like to just step into something different, greater, try the meditations I talked about. Come and get them. Try the pineal gland or the connecting to your spirit guides. It's awesome. And if you are already doing all this stuff and you've been listening to Trey and listening to people like me and listening to people talking about vibration and frequency, I have a mastermind that meets once a month. It's a whole bunch of people. We work with the council. It's awesome. And then I'm going to be at your summit in September.
Yep.
I'm sure you're going to be sharing that with everybody. And then I'm going to be at San Diego Transcendence Retreat with Bashar and like Ann Tucker and all these cool people that I can't wait to
I
meet
love
and do
Ann, yeah.
selfies with. Yeah, she's awesome. That's September 27th and 28th. And there's a discount, Spirit Calling. You get a little discount on there, but I'll be there. And there's a dinner cruise and we can all hang out. And it sounds awesome.
Yeah, buddy, raise that frequency.
I know.
Pamela, I love this. I love that we found each other. I love that we had this
Me too.
conversation. Creating spaces and containers for safe
Yeah,
conversations is what we're about here.
it's awesome.
So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for finding me and for inviting me to have the conversation. And we'll do it again, I'm sure.